Out of ignorance, misery, pain, despair. Used with knowledge, health. Drugs affect the body in many ways. Bacteria may be causing a disease. A doctor may cure it with an antibiotic or some other drug that kills bacteria. Or some organ such as the thyroid gland may not be working properly. It might be the lungs, the heart, the stomach, and the intestines. The trouble can often be helped by some special drug that affects that particular organ. Or a drug may work on the complex system that regulates every part of the body. Drugs that affect the nervous system work in many ways. Ever felt like this? Ever had a fever? Aches in every muscle. You remember. You might have taken a drug, aspirin. Aspirin helps aches and pains, and it also lowers fever, in part by working on the nervous system. The aspirin tablet is absorbed through the stomach and intestines. Within half an hour, molecules of the drug will reach the cells of the brain. There it will begin to affect that aching feeling that begins in the muscles. In the microscopic spaces between the muscle fibers, there are countless nerve endings called receptors that pick up the messages from the aching muscles. Each receptor sends signals along a nerve fiber into the spinal cord and up into the brain. These electrochemical impulses pass into a lower part of the brain, which controls messages having to do with pain. From here, impulses pass to the higher part of the brain, the cortex, probably where our sick friend forms the idea that his muscles ache. He thinks how uncomfortable he is. Maybe changing position will help. Impulses race to the parts of the brain that move his muscles. The messages go out. Feel better? No? Well, the aspirin will help. One of the several effects that aspirin has is on the part of the brain that controls pain impulses. Pain impulses still come in, but as the aspirin begins to work, not as many go out. Our friend just doesn't feel the ache as much. By careful use of a drug, he has changed one action of the nervous system. Aspirin also works in another way, by making you flushed and making you sweat. This helps to lower your fever. The aspirin works on a special part of the brain that controls the temperature of the body. This is one of many complex nerve centers in the brain that controls the working of your body's organs without any conscious thought on your part. When the special brain center begins to be affected by the aspirin, it sends out impulses to the sweat glands, causing them to produce more moisture. When the sweat evaporates, it cools the body. Impulses also affect the surface blood vessels, which expand and carry more of the overheated blood to the surface of the body where it can cool. Complicated? Yes. And these are only a few of the ways that a drug can act on the nervous system to help you when you're sick. There are dozens of other drugs that a doctor can prescribe when he needs to change the action of a person's nervous system. Only a doctor has the knowledge to know which to use or how much to use. The wrong drug or the wrong amount can be a poison. For instance, if 2 aspirin tablets will help your fever, why shouldn't 20 make you all well? Don't try it to find out the answer. Many young children have eaten several sweetened aspirin tablets thinking they were candy and died. Speaking of poison, what would you think of someone who decided to have a bowl full of strychnine for breakfast? Impossible? Well, here's a deadly poison that some young people play with for kicks. The glue sniffers. Fumes from the chemicals are breathed in through the lungs. Molecules of the poison are carried through the body and deep into the cells of the brain. Along with the kicks, dullness, headaches, shaking, and other unpleasant feelings. A child can easily kill himself by continuing to breathe the fumes. But luckily, this doesn't happen often. Though most drugs can be poisonous, when they're used correctly with a doctor's instructions, they have great medical value. There are 2 principal kinds that affect the nervous system. One is the kind we call a stimulant, a drug that stimulates the cells in some part of the brain to work faster. The other kind we call a depressant, a drug that slows the impulses from the cells in parts of the brain. Sleeping pills, or barbiturates, are the commonest kind of depressant drug, and useful too when properly used. But there are people who take these so-called goofballs for kicks. A small amount makes the person feel relaxed and friendly, but slowed down. More, and the person gets sluggish, gloomy, sometimes wanting to fight. Then collapse. A brain out of order throws the whole body out of order. Breathing gets slower and slower. The heart is weak. Blood pressure drops dangerously. This collapse may be more than a deep, deep sleep. In just one city, about 450 people die each year from barbiturates. Hours later, the body labors to get back to normal. Kicks, a strange kind of kicks. Another kind of depressant, both useful and dangerous, comes from the opium poppy, the various drugs that are made from opium. When a patient is in severe pain, morphine is the most helpful drug that a doctor can give. Codeine is another drug which your doctor may have prescribed in a cough medicine. It has a special effect on the brain center that controls coughing. The strongest and most dangerous drug of all is heroin. A person who starts using heroin for kicks gets a pleasant feeling of well-being for a while. Then he gets drowsy and unable to think clearly. He sits doped, doing nothing, letting the world go by. When the drug wears off, he wants that pleasant feeling again, but he finds he has to keep increasing the dose. The more he uses, the more he needs to get that same feeling of well-being. The disaster of heroin creeps up quietly, slowly. After a while, if he doesn't get the drug, he gets violently sick. He may even die. He's an addict with a habit that's almost impossible to get rid of. He spends the rest of his life just trying to keep up his supply of heroin, usually by stealing, the only way he can get enough money. And somehow the saddest part is that soon the drug doesn't even make him feel good. He needs it just so he won't feel sick. No fun, no drive, no future, no life. The other principal drugs that work on the nervous system are the stimulants, the ones that cause parts of the brain to work faster. One of the most dangerous is amphetamine, sometimes called bennies. Doctors may prescribe these in small amounts to help patients. For instance, those who are terribly tired or depressed. But suppose somebody takes several pep pills looking for kicks. What might this disturbance in the brain cells do to the body? The heart often goes out of order and beats irregularly. The walls of the blood vessels tighten, which shoots the blood pressure up. The muscles jerk. The person is jittery and restless. He may have convulsions. And the brain, with billions of extra impulses racing through it, confusion. Feelings, the person is irritable, tense, anxious. He may fly into a rage. And obviously, he won't be able to get to sleep for a long, long time. When the effects finally wear off, he will be terribly tired and depressed. Two other drugs, marijuana and LSD, disturb the nervous system seriously. Both drugs do something to the brain that distorts the appearance of the world. A brain under the influence of marijuana distorts the sense of space and time. The brain may tell a person that his car is going this fast instead of this fast. With LSD, commonplace things seem to have great significance. But LSD destroys judgment. Some people believe they can fly. Some people believe they are God. Recently, this happened. Marijuana and LSD affect different people differently. Sometimes they make a person feel pleasant and dreamy. Sometimes terrified. Sometimes wildly irresponsible. And always, they keep a person from thinking clearly. For the person who plays with marijuana, there is a special danger. The danger of looking for bigger kicks with more dangerous drugs. And for the person who plays with LSD, there is a very special danger: severe mental illness. Also, many doctors now believe that repeated use of LSD causes permanent brain damage. Young people distort and damage their nervous systems with drugs for different reasons. They may feel out of the crowd and want to be in. They may be trying to find some excitement in a bored, empty life. They may think this is a way of appearing big and unafraid. Or they may have problems they don't want to face. What do you think these young people are like? Would you guess that they are strong or weak? Would they be responsible, mature for their age? Might they have problems in getting along in the world? What do you think?